And Jesus even saw Satan being cast out to heaven, speaking prophetically. In Luke 10:18, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from heaven. In other words, Satan gets cast down. Here Jesus has spoken, and he saw Satan have fall from heaven, although this can be taken both ways. The first could be Satan being cast out of his position as the covering cherub, but the second is also when he's cast to earth when he's cast down during the fifth trump. Now keep in mind that back in Job, pointed out how Satan could walk on the earth, and he still had to return to heaven when God called them all to be in attendance. On to the sixth trump. Now, Revelation 9:13, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a loud voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loosen the four angels which are bound in the great rivers Euphrates. As we saw, the fifth, Satan was kicked out of heaven. The sixth, Satan's going to be here on the earth during the Great Tribulation. We know this of these four angels in Revelation 7. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree. Now this is giving preparation for all to be sealed. All 144,000 of the 12 tribes of Israel, as well as the Gentiles. There is an "and" in there. Most people overlook. Skipping on down to verse 13. And one of the elders answered unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and where do they come from? That's basically what it's saying. Verse 14. And I said unto him, Sir, you know. And he said to me, these are they which came out of the great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. So we see coming out of the tribulation a group of people who has white robes that were made, or I should say, a group of people whose robes were whitened by the blood of a lamb. That's Christians, people, the church. Only a Christian has a white robe, spiritually speaking, that can be only be made white out of the blood of the Lamb, and the blood of the Lamb is Jesus. But even Jesus warned us of the tribulation. Matthew 24 verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, it should be desolator, but spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. The holy place we saw back in 2 Thessalonians, where Satan's sitting in the temple. But the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel is Satan. Matter of fact, in 1 Chronicles 21:1, Satan there in the Hebrew is Sha'ava. In the Hebrew, which means desolation. That's one of his names, is desolation, or desolator. Moving on to 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. This word transform in the Greek really should be translated disguise. And this marks the Great Tribulation, where Satan comes down pretending to be Jesus. He looks like Jesus, he sounds like Jesus, or he sounds like the way we think Jesus would sound like, and what he'll look like, and how he'll act like. Satan ain't coming and saying, oh, we're going to kill all Christians. No, Satan's going to try and deceive the church. But we're going to move on to Matthew 24 about this great tribulation which Satan's going to be in. Verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such which has not seen since the beginning of the world to the time, or to this time, nor ever shall be. Okay, here Jesus is telling us about this great tribulation, so he's getting ready to talk to us about it. Most of the verses beforehand that leads up to this is stuff leading up to the tribulation. And one way we know we're coming up to these end days is we hear world peace. But I'll say a go over Matthew 24 in another lecture or lesson. Well, let's skip down to verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Jesus, or here is the Christ, or there is he, believe it not, do not believe him. For there shall rise false Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch, if it was even possible, they shall deceive the very elect. The elect of Christ, is Christians, the ones who study his word and know the truth. But they'll be showing signs and wonders and appearing to be like Jesus, acting, saying all the nice little religious things. That's the problem. It's religious. It ain't biblical. And one of the things I guarantee you Satan's going to be saying is, I'm here to rapture you away. Don't worry about your debts. I will solve that. Don't worry about being sick. None of this. I'm here to take you home. Could be honeycoating things too. Probably a lot better than I can honeycoat it. But this is not Jesus. This is Satan. He'll be saying this stuff. He is the false Christ, the Antichrist, which is anti in the Greek means instead of. Most time we think it's against. True, he is against. But the Greek, it means instead of. But those of us who know the truth don't have to worry. For we won't be deceived, and the tribulation is shortened. It states in this very same chapter, but we're not going to cover that right now. But we are going to cover Jesus' return. Matthew 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the power of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. They shall see the Son of the Man coming in the clouds of heaven with great power and great glory. Well, why are the tribes mourning? I believe in Revelation it tells us that many of them want to be crushed by rocks. But they're going to be mourning because they realize, I've served Satan. I thought I was serving Jesus. Oh no. And you're going to have a lot of them going to Jesus, and Jesus like told them in Matthew as well. I think it's chapter 7. Y'all may have to go look it up or double check on me. But it says, Jesus, Jesus, I cast out demons in your name. I healed in your name. And Jesus is going to look at them and go, I don't know you. Who are you? Because they gave themselves to Satan, thinking they were serving Jesus. It pays to have knowledge. Moving on. Ooh, here comes the fun part. Matthew 24:31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trump, and they shall gather together the elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. This trump is the same trump we know of in 1 Thessalonians 4:17. That we are snatched up and gathered into that group in our spiritual bodies. Yes! Revelation even talks about this trump. It's called the seventh trump in Revelation 11:15. And the seven angels sounded, and there was a great voice in heaven saying, the kingdoms of the world are becoming the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. So you see, we're not flying away. Satan comes first, then Jesus, then the flesh is no more at this trump. Matter of fact, 1 Corinthians 15:52, in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be risen incorruptible, and we shall change. In other words, this is that same trump, 1 Thessalonians 4:15, the last. Notice it says the last trump. There's no more after it. It's the furthest one out. Then we go into the 1,000 years where all the souls are taught with a rod of iron, but that's another lesson. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me today.